Hi everyone, I'm Stu.
I'm Sarah, and welcome back to the 350 Bird Challenge.
In this video we're going to chronicle our birding adventures from mid-May to the end of June. So there's going to be lots of different stops, lots of different birds. Let's chase some of those warblers we still need. Stay tuned, we'll be back after this. Hi everyone and welcome back to this summer-long epic birding journey through Ontario. Sarah, where are we starting today?
We are starting at Gildwood Park.
There have been long-standing reports for the last few years of red-headed woodpecker here. We've never been able to find it. Maybe we will this time, but even if we don't, there's still warblers that we need and other summer migrants that are arriving into Ontario. So let's take a look around this garden. Gildwood Park is located in the east end of Toronto. Manicured gardens with a collection of 19th to 20th century building relics rescued from demolition from mostly downtown Toronto, including this theatre-like stage which contains parts of the old Bank of Toronto building demolished in 1966. We walked through the park area and building pieces towards a more natural area, because behind the gardens is a wooded trail, and this spot, with some freestanding dead trees, good habitat for red-headed woodpeckers. There were a few warblers around here. This black and white warbler is new for the year. It's the referee of warblers in black and white striped plumage, similar to a nuthatch, and it pokes underneath bark for insects instead of gleaning them from leaves like many other warbler species. Its beak is slightly longer and slightly more downward curved than most other warblers. A little bit of brush behind us and we just got our best looks ever at a blue-headed vireo. Really like that vireo. Probably my favourite. Sarah, your favourite eastern vireo?
Yeah, I think the blue-headed vireo takes it for me.
More so than the somewhat rare white-eyed and the even rarer yellow-throated vireo?
Yeah, I think I find it the most striking, so yeah, I like that one best.
It's been my favourite for a while too. It was great to get such good looks at this after seeing it in the last video and commenting on how we'd never seen it up so close. While we were waiting for the red-headed woodpecker to show up, we had this flyover, a sandhill crane. Note how the neck is extended in flight compared to a great blue heron which flies with a tucked neck. Somewhat unusual time of year for a sandhill crane over Toronto in May. This rather feisty Carolina wren was nesting nearby and he really let us have it. Well, cynical Stu thinks we're not going to find this elusive red-headed woodpecker. Despite finding some decent habitat, as you can see behind us, we haven't seen a couple of other woodpeckers. It was either a downy or a hairy flew away. We've seen lots of red bellies and we hear a flicker constantly calling, but no red-headed. But on the bright side, we've heard lots of warblers, especially when we first got here and the sun was out. First day, for a couple of days, we've had some nice weather. It's been a lot of rain lately, and we've seen Tennessee warbler and some of the others that we've already seen, bay-breasted, chestnut-sided. But we did get eyes on a black and white warbler, so that's a new one for the year at least. We decided to leave Gildwood Park and try somewhere else tomorrow. Note that this video is going to jump around a lot more than usual. We've had to condense a couple of months worth of birding into one episode so that we can catch up a little bit. Hi everyone, welcome back. We are in a secret spot somewhere in central Ontario. Can't say exactly where because there is a sensitive warbler species that breeds here. If we get that, that would be absolutely magnificent, but, well, we keep our fingers crossed, but if we don't get that, we are hoping that there'll be some sparrows here that we still need, such as grasshopper sparrow, vesper sparrow, and we'll take anything else that comes along as well. Stay tuned, we'll take a look. The Kirtland's warbler is probably the rarest breeding bird in all of Ontario. It favours young jack pine. Unsurprisingly for such a rare bird, we didn't find it, but we had a look anyway and kept our eye out for sparrows. This one is a clay-coloured sparrow, a nice find, but we did get it in the last video already. So guys, we're joined by Jason and Nancy today, who are going to wave at the camera like the late Queen. searching through the young trees for other birds, with chipping sparrows and clay-coloured sparrows being by far the most numerous. But we did pick out a handful of vesper sparrows, so not all was lost. Closer views when it flew into a dead tree. Vesper is the Latin word for evening, and it refers to the habit that this bird has for singing later into the night than most birds. Not too far away, a family of bluebirds made an appearance, the male here, but a female and likely a juvenile were also nearby. It was good birding today, as other grassland species appeared for us, this brown thrasher, catbirds, lots of sparrows and some woodpeckers too. An eastern towhee posing nicely, but we could do with some new species. So, after much searching of pines, we moved on to some nearby woodland. Here I got brief, shaky views of a black-throated green warbler. New bird, but quite fleeting views. Some of those pines are good for something at least, because here's a pine warbler, another new bird. We've been walking up and down this immature row of jack pines for a while now. We did get a vesper sparrow, so that's a new one, but I think we're going to move on to new habitat and try to find perhaps some warblers. Okay guys, welcome back. We have now come to a new location at Nancy's recommendation. Nancy, where are we? Sorry.
Oh, sorry, we are in Minising.
Yeah, reports here of golden-winged warbler, which we still need. Blue-winged warbler we have, but it's always nice to see. And we'll have to hold tight, there might be a hybrid here. Let's take a look. The observant amongst you might have heard great crested flycatchers calling in the background during this video. This one took a break from the high canopy and actually allowed us to get it on camera. Well guys, we were hoping for golden-winged warbler, blue-winged warbler, but look, when a blue-winged warbler loves a gold-winged warbler very much, they have a hybrid, and depending on what genes are dominant from that pairing, you get either a Brewster's or a Lawrence's warbler, and we have just seen a Lawrence's warbler. It doesn't actually count towards the challenge because it's a hybrid, but it's a pretty cool bird to see. First time we've seen one, so it's a kind of non-countable lifer. Let's take a look. We can't count this bird because it isn't a species of its own. It's a hybrid between the golden-winged warbler and the blue-winged warbler. When the Lawrence's warbler was first described in 1858, it was thought to be a brand new bird species, which is why it even has a name in the first place. But by the mid-1900s, it had been reclassified as a hybrid. When a golden-winged and a blue-winged warbler mate, their offspring will be a hybrid of the two species, either a Brewster's warbler or the rarer Lawrence's warbler, depending on how the parental genes combine. The details of the genetics gets a bit complicated, and half of you would tune out if I went into it. But we did make a second version of this video that goes into more details, and if you're part of the higher tiers of our membership program who get bonus videos, we'll be sending this out to you guys soon. In the meantime, next year we'll try to find a Brewster's. Following that excitement, we moved on along the forested trail. There were tons of chestnut-sided warblers around today, but barely keeping still long enough to film. I was able to get a few shots by keeping them small in the frame, but the eating must have been pretty good today because they kept moving. A little later, we got great views of this blue-winged warbler, our best yet, which makes up for earlier. And just then, Nancy spotted a yellow-throated vireo. It's way up and backlit. This is our first time seeing it in Ontario, but we have previously seen it in Florida. We caught up with it for a slightly better view. It looks similar to a pine warbler, but has a brighter yellow throat without any streaking, and it has a bright yellow spectacle look, typical of vireos, a yellow eye ring and lores. It began spitting rain a little bit, and this morning warbler took shelter, sitting still for once. And you'll have to forgive me for this shot. It's a veery. It flushed at distance almost immediately, and I'm only including the shot because it's a new bird for the year. We were able to ID this older flycatcher by the sound of its call, otherwise it's a tough one to separate from the willow flycatcher. And before we move on, this ruby-throated hummingbird. It's another new bird for the year. A little further down the trail we came to a swamp, hoping for swamp sparrow. Nope, that's a song sparrow, and you'll find them pretty much anywhere, including swamps. We were hearing swamp sparrows though. And eventually this one popped up, a pretty good looking example of one too. Okay guys, unfortunately no golden winged warbler, but we picked up quite a few good things there. Lawrence's warbler was really cool. We also got yellow-throated vireo. Sarah, your favourite of the birds that we saw today?
Probably the yellow-throated vireo.
Yeah, that is a good one for us to get. I think we're going to have something to eat for lunch. Stay tuned to the video. We'll be back in a bit. Okay guys, welcome back. It's another day. We've escaped after work, which is a bit of a rarity. We've come to McLaughlin Bay, which is one of Jason's favourite spots. He's going to give us the Queen tour and help us get the piping plover because he knows where that hangs out here. We missed it last year, so it'll be a good one to get this year. Jason, what is a Queen tour?
Well, Stu, the Queen tour is when somebody finds a bird and just shows you directly where it is. So you come in like the Queen and just wave at the bird.
So we're the Queens and Jason's going to show us where this piping plover is, and hopefully along these trails we'll pick something else up along the way. We still need a few warblers. We actually just saw a Canada warbler. Bit of a frustratingly bad shot, but I think it's good enough that we can count it, so that's a good bird to get. Here's that Canada warbler, a really fun warbler to see, and we do need to try to get better looks than this. But our main objective today is shorebirds and piping plovers, and for that we need the beach. We looked for other birds on the way, but everything apart from this peewee was too high up in the canopy this afternoon, so we pushed onwards until we put foot to sand. So as we walk along the beach here at McLaughlin Bay, we're hoping that there'll be some shorebirds that have been reported over the last few days. We're hoping we might be able to pick up 4 or 5 new species while we're here. After 10 minutes or so of walking, we arrived at a cordoned off section of the beach, a small sanctuary for one of Ontario's most vulnerable birds. Here's one of the piping plovers. They once nested widely across the Great Lakes as they favour open, sandy beaches with minimal vegetation. But those habitats were lost to development and recreation, and the piping plover became expatriated from Ontario in 1977. But thanks to careful protection and habitat restoration, they returned in 2007, 30 years later. But only a handful nest in the province each year, and a nesting site in Wasaga is currently under threat. The Ontario government is currently hoping to sell beach habitat to the city of Wasaga, who hope to develop the area. In the meantime, our beaches and lake shores provide habitat to many other species, like this spotted sandpiper. Let's take a look at a few other birds that we saw here today too. There's 3 dunlin here, sheltering behind the log with their heads tucked. They're stopping off on migration, wearing that smart breeding plumage. A couple of ruddy turnstones around too. Good looks in our last video, but here's one showing off on top of the log. After some rest, the dunlin emerged and began to forage, this one showing off that nice black chest. Probing the wet sand with its drooping bill, it's searching for worms and tiny crustaceans, fuel for the long journey to its Arctic breeding grounds. A single sanderling walking away from us. Lots of small fish had washed up on the beach, a little too big for this sanderling here. He prefers picking off smaller invertebrates. Another cute plover. These are semi-palmated plovers. They look similar to the piping plover, depending on the time of year. In breeding plumage, these semi-palms have blacker markings on their head, and they're generally darker overall. Lots of shorebirds this afternoon, but the question on everyone's lips, except for this American herringull who doesn't have lips, is can this fish be swallowed whole? You greedy git, wash it down with a drink of water. Suddenly, that gull made us feel hungry, and it was time to turn back. Walking back through the woods, a magnolia warbler eventually showed itself after many minutes spent failing to get it on camera as it flitted between the branches in and out of sight. And a nice look at a chestnut warbler too. Not much else as the evening light began to fade and our hunger continued to increase, just an orchard oriole on the lookout.
Okay, Jason, thank you for the queen tour of the piping plover.
Anytime.
Time for chicken wings? Stay tuned, guys, we'll be back with some more birding on the weekend. Quick break. Okay guys, welcome back. Let's go for another day of birding. We're in a location in Port Perry that Jason, hiding in the background, wanted us to come to and have a look around. Later on we'll be going to Cardan Alvar too, but let's start here and see what birds are hanging out for us to see.
We'd actually begun today by walking along a slightly rickety boardwalk through a wood surrounded by marsh. We're now into June, and aside from this American redstart on display, the tree cover is in, and getting clear shots is more challenging. But we did see a few birds. These purple finches are new for the year. And this Baltimore oriole perched on the edge of some branches. There was a little bit more activity out in the open and next to the marsh though. Over on the opposite bank, a common gallignon barely on show. A difficult in-flight shot of a black tern playing with its food.
He's playing with it.
Playing with it, yeah.
Dropping it, catching it.
Black tern is a good one for us to get. It was one of the more painful misses from last year's challenge, which we failed to reach by only 2 birds. This was one of the main ones we missed. A yellow warbler, one of our most common warbler species here in the south of the province. And back into the woods a little, an itchy eastern phoebe near the trail entrance was a final sighting from this particular location.
Alright guys, we picked up a couple of new birds here. Purple finch is one that's been on the radar for a while that we haven't managed to find, but we got it. What else did we get, Sarah?
We also got a black tern.
And we did see a Virginia rail, but it ran away too quickly, but that was a new one for Jason. One bird that we heard a lot was alder flycatcher, but we couldn't get eyes on it through some of the thick brush that we were in at the time. By the time we got to the outside, we couldn't see any more alder flycatchers. Jason, where did the alder flycatchers go?
I think it went the older way.
Very good. On that bombshell, I think we'll take a quick break.
The next stop will be Cardan Alvar, an environmentally sensitive habitat good for grassland species and located just north of Kirkfield. We're gradually beginning to roll out unique and exclusive content on the BritHikesOntario.com website, including a guide to birding at Cardan Alvar, when to visit, what birds, flowers and other wildlife you'll find, and guides to where exactly to go once you get there. Check out the link in the video description to read our guide to Cardan Alvar. There's also bonus content for friends of the channel who have joined The Hide, our exclusive membership program.
Okay, welcome back. We are now at Cardan Alvar. We're on the north end of Wiley Road thanks to some dodgy GPS directions, and one of the roads nearby was closed, so yeah, we've ended up at this end of it. Thankfully, Jason is driving in his truck. So, as I've said many times before, when we've been to this location, it involves basically driving up and down a few local roads, looking for birds at the side of the road. We're hoping for Sarah. Upland sandpiper would be my number 1 target. What else?
Grasshopper sparrow, maybe sedge wren, and then bobolink.
Yeah, loggerhead shrike is a bird we've already seen this year, but it was quite rare in Ontario, so we'll keep our eyes open for that one too, just because it's a cool bird. Stay tuned, let's take a look.
We should have maybe checked the GPS instructions against our own guide to Cardan Alvar that I mentioned earlier, because we ended up down the very narrow, potholed northern end of Wiley Road, which should be avoided. Thankfully, Jason's wheels saw that we made it out alive. Besides which, we actually stumbled across this hawk that we're fairly confident is a broad-winged. New bird, and worth the detour. Eventually, we rocked up to the more grassland habitat that we'd been aiming for and started looking for birds. Quite quickly, we picked up this bobolink out in the green grass. And a few hundred yards further, one perched quite nicely for us in a roadside tree. Being a grassland habitat, Cardan is a great spot to see species like eastern bluebird. It's a little bit windy and quite cold today, but I did take this photo a couple of years back. The potential to get close views is pretty good here at Cardan. A little distant again, but eastern meadowlarks are another plentiful grassland species here.
Well, having driven up and down the roads here at Cardan Alvar, Wiley Road and Shrike Road, where's that upland sandpiper? I think it upland left. Wah, wah, wah. We did get a couple of new birds though. Good looks at that bobolink. That's probably some of the closest views we've had of that bird. That's a new one for the year, so we're glad about that. Spring joined us too, one of our friends who likes to bird with us. She pointed out a Wilson snipe to us, which we hadn't seen before, apart from at great distance. We were able to get really good looks at that. Let's take a look.
Now this species was very generous with us today. This Wilson snipe, we couldn't have gotten better views of it. A pretty bold individual for a species that usually spooks pretty easily and more often is seen on muddy banks or in marshes. That intricately striped camouflage is perfect for those types of habitat too, making them tough to spot, normally.
I think now we're going to do a quick walk at Cameron Ranch, see if we can still maybe get a loggerhead shrike, maybe a grasshopper sparrow or any other new birds. Let's take a quick look there.
There's a couple of walking trails at Cardan Alvar. The Sedge Wren Trail was closed today due to tree damage when we visited, but Cameron Ranch can be good for several species, including sparrows. And so it was that I offer you the worst ever views of a grasshopper sparrow.
Its head's just sticking out of the green bush and it is a grasshopper.
Is he on the top or?
Yeah, at the top. He's got a orange flower just to the right of him.
Also some far-off savanna sparrow views.
Savannah.
Savannah? Shorter.
Okay guys, that's all we've got time for here at Cardan Alvar. That's today's birding done. May is also done. Today was the 1st of June, so we're into a new month. We have 2 or 3 more weeks of birding to show you left in this video as we consolidate summer because of all the editing of Arizona videos I've had to do at the time of recording this. Stay tuned to the video, we'll be back with some more birding soon. Hello everyone, where are we this morning, Sarah?
We are at Rosetta McLean Gardens.
We came here looking to see if we could pick up a couple of birds, but to be honest, there's not much going on, and I think we're out of time for this video. I do apologise that it's been a little bit slapdash. A stop here, a stop there, a couple of birds here, very fast moving, but it had to be that way for me to be able to edit all the Arizona footage that I still have at the time of recording this video, and then still get out some spring and summer footage. Having said that, there is one more slapdash thing to tell you about. Last time we went birding before today, we picked up hooded warbler. Really cool bird, kind of fancy looking little warbler with a little black head. One that gave us a lot of trouble the year before. We didn't pick it up, but we did see it with the naked eye. Didn't get it on camera, skulking around in the bushes, just couldn't catch it. But we got it a couple of weekends ago, so let's take a look at that.
Back on June 8th, we had a lead on a hooded warbler in Durham region. It was actually a bust, but we tried again in the same day, later that afternoon, and although it was quite skunky and the leaf cover was full, it did occasionally show quite nicely for us. This bird is like a little masked bandit of the understory. Males wear that bold black hood, and these warblers prefer dense, shrubby forests with plenty of shade and tangled growth, where they snatch at small flying insects, often in mid-flight. Okay guys, going forward hopefully normal service will resume and we'll be able to take our time a little bit more with filming and be a little bit less slapdash. Hopefully the next video will be a camping trip where we try and pick up a few of the last warblers that we still need and a few other birds, but at the time of recording the weather is not looking great. So the next video may be a camping video hopefully, or it may be a we're staying in a hotel and we're gonna dash out in between the rain to try and find some birds video. Stay tuned to the channel and you'll find out. Thanks for watching this video guys, please give us a like and please also leave us a comment.
And if you haven't already, please subscribe, and after subscribing, select the bell for notifications when new videos are posted.
We'll be back again soon guys, thanks for watching, happy birding and bye for now.
Bye!